Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Try5 Guy, and in this episode we're going to be working back on the VR Commodore. I'm back from Australia. I had a great 2 months over there. I worked on that VN. If you haven't had a chance to check out that video, there's 3 of them. Us pulling the motor out, us getting everything ready, and then us putting the motor in and of course driving it. Yeah, it turned out all right. Needs a bit of tinkering that my nephew can do over there on his own, but he's quite capable. So I'm going to get into this. There's a whole list of stuff I've got to get done to this car. As you can see, there's a valve cover off, rocker cover off the engine already. I've done the valve stems already on this side, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the valve stems on that side. So I'm going to show you how I do the valve stem seals. So please guys, like and subscribe and hit the notification tab. And if you haven't seen the VN video, go back and have a look at it. It's come up pretty good. Alright guys, here's a list of the stuff we're going to get done on this car. Alright, first one is repair exhaust. Next one is remove the tail shaft and replace the centre bearing. I've got that ordered. It's coming from Australia already. There's nothing comparable over here for it. I looked at the VZ ones that I got over here off the GTO, and the VE one's completely different. So I just ordered one, and it's at the airport waiting to get loaded on a plane as I make this video. I've got to repair the rear brake line, passenger side valve stem seals are going to be done because I've already done the driver side. Transmission cooler, I want to put a transmission cooler on it now. I want to install the ECU back where it belongs, install and clean the interior, put the trims and put the trims back on, clean the seats. Install rear lowered shocks. Now, when I get to that, I'll explain what I'm doing. I've done some research on the lowered shocks. So I've done some research, and I think I'm going to use Nissan ones that have got the same dimensions lowered. So I'll get to that when I get to it, sort of, if that makes any sense. I'm going to replace the spark plug leads. I'm going to replace the airbox, which is over there. I've got there's a power steering bolt missing. Replace the front tyres. Going to get a wheel alignment. There's a radiator leak. It's coming from, looks like the front of the radiator. It might be an easy repair, but I've got to find out where it is. So I'm going to pull the radiator out and put it under pressure and see where it's leaking. And install the tray, the bed liner tray there. That's was where the tank was. I'm going to replace all the screws, and the passenger side tail light. The tail light's not working, the brake light is. And then I've obviously installed the bonnet, which I skipped up here. So let me go around this side and show what I'm going to do here. So as I said just recently, that I've just replaced all those ones over there, all the valve stem seals, and I've already done these 2. So I'll just show you how I do it, on these 2, and then I'll just go to these 2. But you'll note that, see, this has got like a bigger bolt on it. Here's the nut that come off the rocker. Look at the size difference. I mean, the shaft and everything's the same, but the head holding it down, that's like 5/8, and this is like 3/8. This is the US motor, and I noticed that that's different. Everything else is pretty much the same. The shaft size, the length, everything. The actual rocker is all the same. Here's the rocker. And here's the bearing, the truncheon bearing, did I say that right? And the pedestal there, that the bolt goes through, all that's the same. For some reason, well, there it is there, see? All together. It's got that small head on it. I don't know why they did that, but I don't think it matters, but, well, there it is there. So I'm going to start with these 2, guys. First thing I'll do is I'll rotate the crankshaft until this cylinder is at top dead center. So I'll show you how I do that. Like I said, the spark plugs is still out on this one. I'll put all that back in, and then I'll start on that, and then get that done. I'll be back. Alright guys, so first thing I'm going to do is going to remove the spark plug, which I've already done. I'm pretty sure the piston is up the top because I just finished that one. I'm going to just put a small screwdriver in there, and guys, I'm just going to turn this around. It's going to take me a bit, so bear with me until that piston is at top dead center. So I'll just do that real quick. And don't leave the screwdriver in there like I just did. Just make sure you, you know, you pop it out of the way, so you don't, you know, it doesn't bind up in the bore, but it's still pretty far down. So I'll just keep turning that around until I get it. You can use a ratchet. I couldn't be bothered. I'm lazy. Just using a breaker bar. Excuse my shoulders and my body, but there you go. I'm feeling the piston coming up now. You can feel it. It's right. The piston's right up the top there, right? So when you feel the piston start going back, now it's in the middle. It's in between exhaust and intake stroke there. Now it's starting to go down. So I'll just go back the other way. Yeah, it's starting to go down the other way now. Go back up. So that's right in the middle. I'm quite confident now that when I take off these, which I'm going to use a 16mm socket to undo. I'll start with this one here first, which is obviously intake. This one being the exhaust because it's over the exhaust. That's exhaust, intake, intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. So starting with this one, I'll undo it. Okay. Take that out, just put it up here for now. I'll take this one off as well, but I do one spring at a time, so I don't get, everything goes back in the right position. So I don't mess them up. I'll take this one off too. I'm just going to pop it up over on the other side of the motor, over here. Just put it here, so it's out of the way. I'll work on this side first. Now, here's a tool I used. I got these from Harbour Freight over here. I'm sure you can get them over in Australia. They've got like a wheel here, come like that originally, and that's it. Well, that sat on there like that. And what I do is I take it out because when I was working on that side, the brake booster was hitting it, and you can't, when you try to turn these, man, they bite into your hand and bloody hurt. So I whipped it off. I just cut a few slots in it, wiggled it loose. Then I made a couple of little shoulders on it. So a 9/16 or 14mm socket fits over it, and now you can use a socket on it, you see. Much easier, you know what I mean? It's way easier. So now, next thing I'll do is I'm going to put the spring compressor onto the valve spring, so I make sure it can go down as far as it can go, which is looking good right there. Right, make sure that those legs that are like this, right, are right up, hard up against the spring. Then I get my ratchet and I start put my socket on it. And then I start winding it down. Now, I'll just do it by hand to start with. I had to make a correction of what I said post-video. I meant to say valve locks. Don't cover up the valve locks with the tool. If that makes any sense. Am I making sense today? I don't know. And then I'll start bringing the valve spring down. It's already loose. Now, don't forget the piston's all the way up. On a Buick and Ecotec, I'm pretty sure with the Ecotec too, that you'll have, you won't drop the valve into the piston, into the bore, guys. I'm guaranteeing you, as long as the piston's at top dead center all the way to the top, you're not going to drop that down in there. It's not going to happen. If you got it all the way to the bottom, there's a good possibility it will. So, and if it's too hard to turn once you get it all the way down, just grab onto it with a pair of vice grips or channel locks, like that, just to stop it, help you stop it from moving, like that. Okay, that's pretty good. And here's the light back on the situation here, guys. Of course, that doesn't want to stay there now, does it? Here you go. And what I do is I just kind of like vibrate. See that there? I kind of like give that a bit of a tap on top of the valve, the top, this metal part here that's sitting on the spring. I just give it a, and it releases those retainers, those two semicircle retainers. It releases those. Then I just get a magnet, right, and fish them out of there like so. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain, but it comes up because the valve keeps on slipping down. Oop. Here you go. Here you go. Just fish them out of there. They'll come out. Usually, because I'm not on camera, it goes through really quick. But I've got one there. There's one there, right? What are they called? Can someone tell me what they're called? I forgot what they're called. Just a brain fart, but I'm calling them valve retainers, maybe. Here's the other one. Once you get one out, the other one comes out pretty easy. Always line to me. Oh, where'd it go? Yep. And then it comes off as one unit. Don't take it out of there. There's no need. I'm going to throw that on the bench. Right. I get a pair of channel locks or vice grips or whatever. I put it on the valve, the actual old valve stem seal. Just pull up on it like that. Now you can use air if you want, guys. There's on a Buick, there's no need. But see, that's the same. That's in good condition too. It's soft and pliable. That would have probably lasted a while. Now this side cylinder head had a rebuild, like a little badge on the back of it saying it was rebuilt, but I don't know when that was done, but you can actually tell that that's been replaced. But I'm going to go ahead and replace them, guys. I mean, I've done one side, I might as well do the other side. What I do next is, now the valve can't, see that? The valve can't pour down any further than that. It's probably moving, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch, ½ inch the most. It wouldn't even be that much, 3/8 of an inch the most. So 10 mil maybe. So there's that. I'm going to clean around that. Whole heap of oil and stuff in there, so we know the motor's getting plenty of oil up top. Just give that a good clean. Make sure there's no debris or crap underneath on that when you put it all back together again. It's sitting on top. See that? Come up all right. Make sure it's clean. I'll clean in there after when I put the valves back on. I'll come back to that because I've got to do this other side before I put the rockers back up. So what I do is I just get a little dab of Vaseline. Now you can use whatever lubricant you want, but I'm just using Vaseline. And then what I do is I kind of like, when I put this back over the valve, I slowly turn it on back onto the valve because it's got the notches that, you know, the clips those retainers hold on to. I kind of like so it doesn't cut it, you know, cut the actual rubber on the new valve stem seal. So I'll just turn that slowly, just so it feeds nicely back on, just a little bit of pressure, like that. Okay. Then I got these over here. Then I've got this, what is it, 12mm long tube socket, and I just push it down on it, like to its seats, like it has, like that. So that's on. Then I just go and grab this again. You see, good little tool. You can pick them up. I'm sure you can get the same thing in Australia. I mean, they're just Chinese made, whatever, but. Now, the base of all that's clean. I'll just install that back on. Make sure there's nothing on there. Just set it back where it was. These are all being cleaned. I get some Vaseline, put some Vaseline on them. And why I do that on these is so they don't move around. Who wants them moving around in there? You know what I mean? And I just simply put the first one in place, like so, back into the hole, making sure it's located, and I turn this around, right? And then what that does is it moves it to the bottom by turning it around, because I fit it to the top, it moves it to the bottom, it just slips around. Then I put the top one on. So you locate both of them, make sure they're in, turn it around, make sure they don't fall out. Okay. So as you can see, guys, I can't bring the camera in. I'll probably zoom in, but as you can see, the retainers are around the valve, the top of the valve, and yeah, they're in place. Try to hold that up. You should be able to let it go without it falling away too much. Right, once you got it held in position, those retainers are down low, just unwind it until you can hold it. Yeah, that'll hold just for now, just so I can show you guys. I'll take that off because I can hold it now, but I'm pretty sure you can. I'll just turn this around. You see how the retainers are below the level there? They're nice and where they're supposed to be. I'll unwind that until no more pressure on that spring, like that. Once there's no pressure on it, take off the legs there that hold the valve on. Sometimes they're a bit of a bugger when you try to get them off. They'll come off like that. Clean the top of the valve off and valve spring, and I'll take you down to the valve. There you go. So valve stem seal installed. It shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. I'll go ahead, I'll do this one and the rest of them, but you see how there's a little gap. You can't really tell because of the Vaseline, but you can tell that they're right where they've got to be. You know what I mean? So that's a valve stem seal. Don't be intimidated by them. If you've got that tool and patience, pretty easy. So next thing I do is I'll do this side, and I'll come back once this side's done, and then I'll clean up the rockers that were on there, which I've still got over here. I'll clean that side up, put that back on, clean the other side up, put that one back on, and then move on. Same thing, top dead center on the those two on that piston, top dead center on that piston. Take both of them off. Make sure you know, this one you put you know, over here, and then that one there you put over there, so you don't mix them up. And yeah, same operation. All right, guys. So as you can see, I've got the rocker arm and the this other Duvalaki here on the post. As you can see, I've got the rocker on, guys, and the post support there as well for the rocker. I'm gonna start on this one. What I did was, they're both clean, the rocker itself and the post support here. I put some Vaseline on this bearing, as you can see, there it is there, just to give it a bit of lube, because, you know, they're dry now. So that's all done. Now I'm going to just take this bit of extra grease out of here, like that. All right, so I'm going to put this into here, sit it in here. Now sit that over the rocker. Do you remember, I'm going to sit this into this support here, and then you remember this is all cleaned, installed. This is all clean in here as well. Install this there. Okay, I'm going to get my bolt. The bolts had originally had Loctite, so I cleaned up the threads. As you can see, the Loctite was from here to here. So I'm going to put some new Loctite on this, just in that same area. I usually do this, 1, 2, and 3. There you go, plenty of Loctite on that. I use the red Loctite. Oop, Don't move the camera around. There you go. Put the lid back on the Loctite. And stick it in here. Find the hole, screw it in. 25 pound, guys. Torque setting. And it's 25 pounds just for you guys in Australia. What is it? 25 pounds. I can't even read it. I'll write it up on the screen, but 25 pounds. And just go to it clicks. Whoa! Camera fell. £25, that's it. And that's a new valve stem seal replaced in a Buick. That'll be the same as an Ecotec, exactly the same, no different. As you can see, I still got these two to go. I'm going to do the same. Turn the engine over, take out the spark plug, put a screwdriver in there, wait till the piston comes all the way to the top. Make sure they're both rocking at the same time. You'll know because the piston will come up, it'll stall for a second, then it'll start coming on its way back down again, and you just make sure you're in the middle. Take the spark plug, take your screwdriver out of the spark plug hole, remove these two bolts here, remove them, both of them. Make sure make sure this one goes back on this side and this one goes back on this side. Use the tool like I showed you earlier. There's the tool there. I got mine from Harbour Freight here, but I'm sure Sydney Tools would have something very similar. And like I said earlier, it come with this on top here. Right, I took it off and I'm using a 1/2 inch 9/16 socket. Makes life easier. Pull the whole complete valve off and the top there. Remove the old seal, clean it up, put the new seal back in, put it back in again, put the two little retainers in there. I use Vaseline to hold it all in place. Unscrew that thing back on, put this back on with the spring, unwind it, make sure those two little clips are in there, the two little retainers are in there, and then take it off and then assemble, clean it up, take the old Loctite off the bolt, put new Loctite on, 25 pounds, done. It literally shouldn't take more than 15 minutes each one. 15-20 minutes. So you should have one side done in the maximum 2 hours, the most. If you're taking longer than 2 hours to do one whole side, including taking off the valve cover, rocker cover, and putting it back on again, there's something wrong. Anyway, let's move on to something else. Alright guys, I've got the other two rockers all in place, new valve stem seals under that of course. So that's all done, this side and that side's done now. These are all torqued down to 25 pounds, whatever that is in Newton meters. I'll write it up on the screen here. And I just poured some oil on them just for the first start up. It'll pump oil pretty quickly, but I just thought I'd get them done. Obviously I spilled oil on the exhaust there, so obviously it's going to smoke like Puffin Billy. Anyway, so I'll clean that all up off the exhaust. I'll just spray some cleaner on it and I'll put the new valve cover gasket on it, or rocker cover gasket, whatever you want to call it. Here it is here. I've cleaned it all up. It looks pretty dirty, but come up all right. Underneath's all clean. A little bit of a brush hair here. Underneath's all pretty. Valve cover's back on. I put these spark plug legs on for now. Just I want to hear it start, and it did start. I've already started undoing the exhaust because that's the next thing I'm going to do on it, and I've still got to change the air box here and the leads with the new leads, but that's on the list, so I'll get to that. I just wanted to hear it run, and it does run, so no noises, no nothing. So yeah, that's all together. I just want to cross this off the list. Here we go. Valve stem seals. Okay, here's all the parts. the CV, it's all cleaned, and I looked online to see how these go in, and apparently this wider edge here faces this narrow sort of I'll call it an arrow, I guess, like a peak. So yeah, the wider bit goes to there, and this wide section up here, that's not as, you know, it's not as round as that, but it's wider. The narrow section, or the peak of that, faces that. So wide to narrow, narrow to wide. Apparently that's how it goes. That's all cleaned up. That's cleaned up, ready to go. I'm going to find out exactly what grease to put in this, but it's a very high temperature, like a Molly Bond type high temperature grease that goes in there. There's the old bearing there. I don't know, it wasn't even that old really, but yep, it's all off now. So that's the part that goes on there. Bearing, circlip, dust shield, clip, the little rubber bit that goes on the end of this. There's a rubber on there that seals it on here. There's the top of the center bearing cage, well, the top that holds it, the center bearing to this plate. And here's the section that goes underneath that, so that sits in there like that. Like that. There it is there. Right, and then it bolts to this. And now, earlier I was saying about the 5LK, so that goes, that'll sit that way, like this. So this will be where you're viewing this from, would be the rear of the car. It'll sit like that, supposedly, but I'm double checking that. It sounds legit to me. I'm gonna paint these shafts up after I put it together, so I don't lose the orientation of everything. And yeah, I'll just wait for that to get here. Like I said, it's in Chicago at the moment, so once it gets here, I'll assemble it, and then I'll put it back into the ute. There'll be another thing done. Also, the exhaust, not my finest work, guys. I just want to get it going. I'm not going to spend $1 million on exhaust just to take it back out when I do the LS conversion. But this pipe originally was out of a wagon, so that muffler's out of a wagon, so I made it sort of fit, but it was a little bit too short this way. So and it was rusted out right there. I don't know how it got rusted out, but from sitting, had moisture in it. But not my finest weld job, but I did have to put a section in that, and it doesn't hit anywhere. It's good, it's tight, and it sounds way better. So like I said, next thing is that tail shaft, get that in there. So you can see got the leads on, they're all on. All the stuff I've taken off the list, rear exhaust, the valve stem seals are off it now, replace the lead, replace the airbox, and the power steering nut that was missing at the front there was right under there. I've replaced that, and I'm not in love with that box, but it'll do. I'm gonna go get a filter for this today, make sure it's got a new filter. Gonna run it about 500-600 miles, and I'll drop that oil and just put new fresh oil in it, and new filter again, and then I'll do the 3,000 to 5,000 miles, or 6,000-7,000 kilometers, or whatever, you know what I mean. A few other things I want to get for is I want to clean up this interior. It's just dirty from cleaning it, but the ECU's got to be melted up, and I got to clean out this interior. It is disgusting, mate. So put everything away, clean it up, give it a good old clean. I want to replace the front tires at the moment. 245 45 18s, 17s. Yeah, 245 45. Yeah, I want to put 225 50 17s on it, and it'll give me the same sort of height but a little bit narrower tire. I don't know, I just think 245 is pretty wide for the front, but just go a little bit narrower. I would like that, just to be maybe a little bit more guard clearance. I actually think it increases the height a little bit, which I'm not too worried about. I've got VS ones of them I was going to put on, but I've decided to keep them on at the moment. As you can see, all my trim, this is all the trim that I'm putting on. I'm going to get them all painted. There's more. I've got more outside. I've got brand new stuff here somewhere. Brand new genuine ones here in the package still from Holden. Scored them, but I've got to cut one. So I was thinking about keeping one and see if I can find one. I just need one door one. It doesn't matter because I'm going to cut it for the quarter panel and paint it. So I was just going to hang on to them. I've got a back door and front door in the grey. And I was just going to hang on to them for a bit. I don't really want to chop that up, but I can get used stuff. So if anyone's got a grey or dark grey or black VR, VS door one, I'd be more than happy to buy it off here and have it sent over. Or you can send it to a place in Melbourne. Or if you're in Melbourne, maybe my brother or my nephew can go pick it up. I really appreciate it. Rather than cutting up that brand new one and then those guys can ship it, because you can turn this, into a, you can turn them, in a circle and they won't break, and just ship them. They're pretty easy to, send over. So, yep, all right. I'll stop bullshitting and look at my cars, man. The dust on them, the dust from the wind and shit. Disgraceful. I never covered them up this year, that one or that one. So I'm should have my ass kicked. But anyway, if you don't touch them, they'll be okay. So I'm going to put the battery back on that, start it up and get out of here and give it a good wash and hang out to drive that again. I'm putting power steering on this too. I'm getting too old. I just hate manual steering nowadays. So anyway, I'll be back. All right, guys, it's onto the air filter. That's the VN top lid. I just can't go into an auto parts store and get a filter, like parts stores like Advanced Auto or AutoZone or Napa or anything like that, because you go in there, you ask for a 1994 Holden Commodore air filter, and they're going to go, what? So that's not going to work. 2009 Nissan Maxima 3.5 litre filter. That's what it is, perfect fit. This is like the second from the bottom type filter. It's nothing special. They reckon that it'll do 40,000 miles, so like 65,000 kilometres. And fits in normal, no worries. So that's what I get when I need an air filter over here for this thing here. I'll put it back on. Anyway, it's in there nice. Lid's on properly. Put the clips back on. This one here is always the front one, bit of an arse to get to, I reckon. Then I'll get that off camera. Not going to struggle with it here. Anyway, I'll do that one next. But yeah, 2009 Nissan Maxima 3.5 litre V6 air filter. Beautiful. Yeah, guys, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.